Hello again, this is Evia Turquesada. So welcome back, and yes, more pages from my tiny art journal are coming up. For these two pages that I'm going to show you, I combined a whole bunch of stamps for the background, and I also use stencils. So I started out by stamping this script stamp. Isn't that a fun one? Love it, love that. And it's by Stampendous, and the name of it is Calligraphy Sampler, and that's how it looks. So I use that. I also combined this one, which is from Michael's from a while back, and I think this was sent to me by Rosanna, so thank you, Rosanna. And then this one that I already had for a while too. These are old stamps. I've had them for a little while. Then I also used this Crafters Workshop stencil, and I used this part here of another Crafters Workshop stencil. This one's a really fun one. I really like this one. I tried this one out with a few pages, and I'm really liking these little tiny ones that I can like wrap different pieces in the same template. So I think that's basically that. What inspired this page was using that script, but also the element that you're going to see. I had an old music sheet. There's a couple of music sheets that a friend from work gave me. She's a music teacher, and she was cleaning up the classroom, and she found a whole stack of, not a whole stack, but there was like, yeah, there was a stack of old music sheets, and she gave me and the other art teachers the little pack so we could use them in art projects, and I chose a few of them. So this is one of them. So you're gonna see that the whole background is a combination of all of those stamps. Oh, and I also used, wait, let me show you some stamps from this Prima set, and I have it upside down, sorry. I used the key and that little clock and that perfume bottle and this other key and this bottle, I think. Those were the things that I used out of this stamp set. It doesn't have a name, but I used that, and then I used this K & Company sheet of laser cut pieces. I don't know if you can see them there. The one I picked was this one. And the reason I picked it, well, it went perfectly with the page, but I had taken all of it out and I put it in a little folder so I could have things that I could collage onto my pages, and that little piece was left behind. So when I was cleaning up my desk, that was on my desk, so I decided to use it, and that's the piece that you see here. So I stained it with a whole bunch of different paints. I mean, I can't even remember the paints that I used on this, but there's a whole combination of sepia tones and Tim Holtz and paint, like acrylic paint. So I had this key, and I think it's a K & Company, but I took them all out of the packages and I have them in bins. So I wanted to use that and combine it with the music sheet, and then what I did was I stamped with a sepia archival ink. I stamped Key to the Past. So it's Key to the Past, and it has all of those images of vintage things in the background with the vintage music sheet incorporated into it. And then a little teeny tiny wood veneer piece that I also stained. And that's what the page looks like now that everything's on it and combined and finished off. And for the wording there, for the letters that I used to create that, I used this Stampendous cling stamp alphabet, and it's vintage lowercase. I loved it. I love using that. I have to find more stickers like that. I mean, I need to get more alphabets. I'm loving the look of them and how I can write out my words and then use them. I haven't done that before, and I'm loving the use of that. So I don't know, I'm gonna research and see how much the Tim Holtz ones are running for now. I know he had some really cool ones that look like this, like vintagey and scrungy and perfect for our journaling, so I'm gonna look for those. So yeah, so that's the page, and it also has my I stamped the date there on the bottom, and I just added little lines to that. And then for the next one, for the next page, what I combined was a background using these distress paints in the mustard seed, the spice marmalade, and the vintage photo. That's another thing I had not tried on my journals, and I got to try that. So I started with that, and then I added this, and I think it's a Hero Arts background. So you're gonna see that, and then I used all of these Stampers' Best that I've had for a while. So I used these, and I also used the vintage fashion part. I used a whole bunch of these, and I also used this one. Oops, and it's upside down. And then one more, this other one. And this is corset dress one. I used to buy a lot of stamps from them. I haven't been buying lately, but... And then I also used this one here. This one, the hat shop. And this was sent to me by Elise, who... Elisa was, Elisa was, Crafty Honey Dolls here on YouTube a while back. I don't think she's making videos anymore. That stamp was a super sweet gift from her a while back, a couple of years back. So those are the things that I used on my page. And then I, right here, for the love that I cut out, this is a stamp set, and it's a font from, I think it's a Recollections stamp set. It's also very old. I've had it in my stash for a while, and it was given to me by Sharon. So thank you, Sharon. I used it here, and it worked perfectly. I actually wanted to write the word fashion going up, love fashion, but it wouldn't fit because the letters were too big. So I just cut these out and played with them, and then I added vintage fashion, which was part of the stamp that I showed you before. I just cut this little, whoops, let me see. I just cut this little section. I stamped it out, and I cut that little section there, and I distressed the whole thing and added it there. So it says love vintage fashion. And then you're gonna see the hats down here. Those were all stamped on manila cardstock, and then I colored with vintage photo. I antiqued them with vintage photo, and I incorporated them into the page. Let me put the page down so you can see it maybe a little bit better. So you're gonna see the vintage photo acrylic paints, which I love because they're permanent once they dry. So I'm really liking the look of them on my journal. And then all of the stamping I did with Archival by Ranger. So in the sepia tone. So that's the swirl, and then all the laces are on the side, and then the measuring tape and different little elements. And then I fussy cut all of those stamps that I had stamped. Well, this one and this one and this one were fussy cut, and I also fussy cut that one. And this one I just stamped onto the page with the black. So all of the images were stamped with jet black onto manila, and then I distressed them and fussy cut. I fussy cut all of them, and then I distressed them, and then I glued them down to my page. So that's what this page looks like now. I really like how it turned out. All of those elements I love. Yeah, so those are my two last pages on my journal, on my tiny journal. And then I've been working on the bigger ones. So hopefully I'll get to share those with you sometime soon. So hugs and kisses, everyone.